step here. Today, what we're going to be looking at is some of the modern workflow automations inside of SAM called routines. Now, you don't need a PhD, and you definitely don't need to be an expert in automations to be successful with these. So as we look at all of the different ways that you can build automations using routines or routine workflows inside of SAM, you're going to see exactly how this is going to be accomplished through this clip right quick.
In our routines, if you go into a routine, and let me see if I did it. No, I did. Okay, I'm going to create a new routine here. It's a blank routine, and I'm going to call this conditional messages and contact, and it's just going to be based off of. I don't know, I'm just going to grab something here. For lack of a better, I'll just do category change date. Don't worry about the date field. I'm just picking a date here so I can have something in here. Number one, whenever you go and you create a activity, let's say send conditional message. If I'd spell it right. Down here at the bottom, we have actions. So this calculates your activity. When am I going to put it on the calendar? In this case, whenever the category changes, at that point in time for whatever it is, at the activity time, you can choose at what times you want different things to happen. I want to do something. I want to do some kind of automation of some sort. If I click on add action, that's the automation. We have had in the past, we've had the send message, we've had the add to call list, run a webhook, update a field. This is extremely powerful for a lot of other reasons. Sending a Slack message, sending notifications, and stopping other routines. This can be very useful if you need to stop some routine. Maybe you've got leads coming in, you put them on a lead follow-up nurturing campaign of some sort, and at some point they sign on the dotted line. You don't necessarily want them to continue to get the lead nurture stuff. You want them to get something else. You'd want to stop your existing routine and start some other routine. What we did not have is a way to deal with conditional messaging, in that if I choose this as an option, I can now say, well, if a certain field, and let's just say category, lack of a better choice, you can choose any of the drop-down types of fields, the category, the status, the source. If the source came from here, maybe it came from realtor.com, I wanted to send this particular welcome email. If it came from Zillow, I wanted to send a different email. So what we can do is come here and say source. And then the first thing is we want to make sure there is a default message. If it's neither realtor.com or it's not Zillow.com, what would you want to send? And you can pick that template, and let's just grab one. It doesn't really matter which one it is, but you can choose a template. You could choose a different type of message of some sort. One thing that I don't currently have, but Cody and I talked about this, is maybe we just don't want to send anything at all. I really need to probably offer an option. I guess if you leave this blank, it wouldn't send anything at all. So I guess if you left that blank, you'd be fine. But I think I'd rather have an option here for do not send anything. In either case, if you have certain messages that you want to go out based off of this source being realtor.com, then you can say add a condition, and then you can say what's that condition, and you can pick from the available choices of whatever it is. If it came from homes.com, realtor.com, or whatever, then you can have a particular template. Let's say I'm just going to grab something lack of a better one, number 6. And if it is a Zillow.com, then it's going to get something different. The advantage here is now you can have, instead of setting up multiple workflow processes, in this case, routine processes that are almost identical, except for one particular message in there, then you can now do it with one routine instead of setting up multiples. So this just makes it a whole lot easier now to say, okay, based off of this being a source of realtor.com, we're going to send this one. If the source on it was homes.com, I'm going to send this one. But all of my other actions, processes, emails, SMS messages, all those kinds of things will still go out the same. It's just it's referencing a different message here. And the other option here, we've already got it built in so that it does it automatically, but potentially, if you wanted to, you could determine language. Demographics is one that I think is probably the most underutilized option now, where you could say, okay, I've got a new lead in. They're getting this series of things, but there's this one message that I want to send out. If they're a first-time home buyer, I want them to get this particular message. If they're a move-up buyer, I want them to get this one, or a downsizing buyer, or whatever it is. Most of the other ones are all the same. You can do the same type of thing with demographics, personality assessment. If you want to drive your messaging different based off of their assessment, you can do that. The other advantage of this, and it may be more congruent with a category, actually demographic would be a good one, where if you've got a long series of messages that you're sending out, and if it's something where that value changes midstream, status could be one, milestone could be one, definitely demographics, where they've now, maybe they're in a long-term 7-year type routine, and they go from first-time home buyer to a move-up buyer. Maybe you just want certain of those messages to be different based off of whether they're a move-up buyer versus a first-time home buyer or whatever. So you can do different types of things like that. Setting up the default so that the default one is what's always sent, no matter what it is, if it's not one of these other conditions. Any questions on that?
I have a side question for you. When you clicked on your activity time, the drop-down list, you had a bunch of options. I only have 3.
Yeah. So great question. Whenever you first get the system, depending on what type of field it is, if it's a date and time field, you will see that it says activity time. If it's a date only, activity time will not be there. But if there's other options, and this comes back to in a previous software version, you only had one time that you could pick, right? Well, there's different times you want to send different things, right? Well, what you can do is come over here to the little clock part, click on the ad, and you can say, well, I want to set up a 7:30 item, and I want to call that my late night roundup, whatever. You call it whatever you want to call it. At that point, then, it now becomes an item in the list. I don't know why it doesn't say 7:30. I think once it refreshes, it will say 7:30 in there. So now you can add any time that you want as a specific time frame for things to go out. You can specify what that time is.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now that we understand how we can use automations inside of SAM, you're going to start to see how easy it is to stand up entire systems that can help run your business more successfully. Now, if you would like to try this for yourself, you can visit sam.workflowsecrets.info and get started with 14 days of free access on us. This is no obligations, but what it's going to allow you to do is get into SAM and start standing up some of the automations like you've seen in this video, maybe one of our other videos. I can't wait to see you inside the system. Go ahead and click sign up at sam.workflowsecrets.info and get started today.